Remember that time we stacked all those chairs and Jason just ran into it? I was tempted to include the video right now, but I'm not going to because I promised I wouldn't. What's the statute of limitations on that, like 15 years? Welcome back to Rewind with bschwitty, because in my culture, death is not the end, it's more of a stepping off point. Today, what I really wanted to do was do some sort of tie-in with the movie that's coming out this Friday, at least in the States, I think worldwide. Marvel's new MCU installment, Black Panther. And as you may know, there are African countries that produce some good wine. The most well-known is South Africa, but the country that Black Panther comes from originally, Wakanda, is supposed to be somewhere in East Africa, somewhere around Tanzania. And while there's an emerging wine region coming from some countries out there, it's really hard to get my hands on those wines at the moment. So I went for the most well-known wine-producing country on the African continent, and that is South Africa. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Not so much a Black Panther tie-in as just something that I didn't know much about and thought it would be interesting to do. And I get to try some Pinotage. So that'll be fun. That's a varietal that I've never personally had before. And in 2 weeks on this very channel, you can learn more about it. All right. First up, South Africa. Where is it? As its name implies, it's located at the southern tip of the continent. And although it's so far south, it's a little cooler than you might think. Winds and Arctic currents will cool the region, meaning that cooler climate grapes are what thrive in the area. Wine growing regions generally are around the Cape, which is, I believe, the coastal area, including Cape Town. And the Cape includes the oldest geology in the wine-growing world, with ancient weathered soils and three major types of soil, including granite, Table Mountain sandstone, and shale. South Africa has a version of like the AOCs or the AVAs that France and or the United States respectively use, things to kind of state quality and give you an idea of where the wine's from. Their particular version is called Wine of Origin. Let's see if this has one. What we're drinking today is 2014 Pinotage from the Den, or Painted Wolf, excuse me. It's called the Den. And it's from the Wine of Origin region known as the Coastal region. Single registered vineyards must be smaller than 15 acres and planted with a single varietal, or at least that's encouraged. And they study the individual characteristics and flavors of the varietal from that vineyard, so they kind of get like an idea of what the soil and the terroir and the varietals themselves give to the wine, which is really interesting and will allow you better control over the product that you make, and just really knowing your grapes that intricately will greatly improve whatever you're putting out. 90% of the wine that takes part in the Wine of Origin labeling qualify as a sustainable vineyard, which is kind of cool. Apparently resources are a little bit tight there, and they try to make everything, especially in the agrarian practices, as sustainable as possible, yet you still get to drink wine. 80% of the grapes that South Africa produces end up as wine. The other 20%, or the lower grade stuff, if you will, is turned into concentrate or distilled into brandy. South Africa has nearly 600 wineries, half of which crush less than 100 tons per year, which, if they have lower crop yields, would imply that they make 5,000 cases a year or less. The most notable grapes from the Cape include Chenin Blanc, which is formerly the most planted varietal, but now has been replaced by a lot of reds. Colombard is the fourth most planted white grape out there, and it's mostly used for distilling. Cab Sauv is the most planted red, followed by Shiraz, which is catching up in popularity, just edging out Pinotage as the second most planted red varietal up there. And finally, Merlot is fourth. So the four big reds that they're planting right now in that region are Cab Sauv, Pinotage, Shiraz, and Merlot. Another notable South African region for wine is Constantia, which was historically the most famous wine produced from the area. It was known for its dessert wines as early as the late 1700s and was planted as early as the mid 1600s. Now it's known for its Sauvignon Blanc, which is another white varietal that South Africa produces. So that's a little bit about South Africa for you. I just wanted to get hyped for the Black Panther movie. I realized that there's a long distance between the equator and where Wakanda actually should be and South Africa, but I didn't know much about South Africa before researching this, so it's fun to kind of just learn something new, which is what I hope you're doing as well. Tell me, are you going to check out Black Panther this week? Have you tried any South African wines? Let me know in the comments below. Shout out to my old doormate Talbot. Thank you for watching. It would be awesome, since you're also in the wine industry, if you could come on the show at some point down the road. Anyway, hope you learned something. My name's bschwitty. Thank you for watching Rewind. I will catch you next time. And seriously, I know it's already super hyped, but how cool is the Black Panther movie going to be? I'll catch you next time.